Hey everyone, my name is Matt. This is going to be my first video where I'm talking to you specifically about something that I'm really interested in right now, and it has to do with finances. So, I'm 25, I work a full time job. Nothing super interesting about that, but the whole point of this is there's so many things that every day when I start looking into it, I'm learning, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. And so I thought, okay, how can I put this out to the internet and get people to tell me whether or not my understanding of it is correct? So essentially, what got me thinking about this is I was looking into my 401k for my company, and I started looking into my Roth IRA. And somehow, so essentially right now I'm investing my Roth IRA through Edward Jones, which is like it's like a large conglomerate financial advisor. And ultimately I realized I don't really know if it's necessary to have a financial advisor. And the reason why is I feel like personally I know how to do all that, and I can manage that, and it's not much of a headache for me. And then they don't take as much of a cut. For those of you who don't know, every time you invest with a financial advisor, typically they have some way of making money. Sometimes that's like a small amount of money they take from your total deposit when you go and buy stock. Sometimes that's like a percentage of your annual earnings. And the reason why you have to pay attention to this is because although they're like little amounts of money, this can add up to a lot over time, especially if they're taking like 1% of your annual earnings. That can roll over into, like, you can take those earnings and roll them back over into more stock, and that's like the benefit of compound interest, I believe. Once again, I'm like really trying to understand all this stuff. So anyways, I'm looking into rolling over my Roth IRA, and I end up clicking on an advertisement from Charles Schwab that talks about rollover IRA pros and cons. And essentially, this part right here, where it says rolling over your 401k into an IRA, rolling over your money to okay. Oh, what are the benefits? Leaving your money in your former blah blah blah. Okay, so when you roll over your old retirement account into an IRA, you can preserve the tax deferred status of your retirement assets without paying current taxes or early withdrawal penalties at the time of transfer. So, I don't believe this is for a Roth IRA. I don't think there's any way to take your 401k, which has essentially pre tax incentives, and then roll it over into a Roth IRA, because that wouldn't make sense. That seems like it would be cheating the system. But once again, I don't know, because it feels like if you know the system, there's lots of ways to cheat it. So if anyone out there knows, can you roll over your like a 401k Roth, or sorry, a 401k IRA into a Roth IRA and still preserve those tax deferred statuses while then also getting the benefits of a Roth IRA? I don't believe you can, because when I look up what an IRA means, it literally means individual retirement account. Um, so a Roth IRA is I think a not a tax deferred, but a taxed individual retirement account, whereas a IRA is just a, I don't even know if an IRA is technically a tax deferred individual retirement account. I think it's just you can technically roll over a 401k into an IRA and still maintain that status, but anything else you invest in it would have to then be taxed. Well, then, see, this is where it's interesting, because let's, right here, what are the benefits? An IRA typically offers more investment choices and greater control of your funds. Additionally, IRAs can provide tax advantages such as tax-free growth in an Roth IRA. See, now this leads me back to my other question. Can you roll over a 401k into a Roth IRA? I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to figure out. Because, see, this is where ChatGPT is, my friend. Can you roll over a Roth or a 401k into a Roth IRA? Yes, you can roll over, but there are some important details in tax inputs. So this is called Roth conversion. Your income tax and pre-earnings. The year you convert, you're converting money that has never been taxed into an account that grows tax-free. This is a direct rollover, not a conversion, no tax owed as long as the Roth 401k contributions earnings meet the 5-year rule. Okay. With traditional 401k rollover, you'll pay ordinary income tax, the full amount. This can push into a higher tax bracket. Cash to pay the taxes. Do you have cash to pay? Oh, will this rollover bump you into higher? Okay, so I think that solves my problem, or solves my question. You ultimately cannot roll over a 401k into a Roth IRA. All right, that's super interesting. Another thing that I think is also something that, like, the thing about money and savings is it seems inherently complicated. Like, it seems like they make it complicated, more complicated than it needs to be. While it's also simple, like the idea is, right, you save money, you'll be fine. So let's go ahead. I'm like in this retirement calculator. Let's say $70,000 a year. Sure, your current income increase 3%, average investment return 6% per year. See, this is also interesting. What is the average investment return on 401k? I wonder if is there information about this? What is the average? How much what is the average contributions? Does American investment fees? I don't know. 6%, is that enough? Whatever. Say 30,000. Social Security. I don't like. What is how much money do you get from social? How much money do you get from Social Security? The amount. So depends. Calculates your benefits based on your highest 35 years of earning. What? That's interesting. So your age when you start, so 62 is the earliest you can do this. You get about 70 to 75% of your full amount for retirement. You get 100% if you calculate. Oh, okay. Max at full retirement, average retiree 1900. So 1900. Max at 70, 4700. Jeez. Max at full retirement. If you made around $60,000 to $80,000 per year consistently, your benefit would be $22,000 to $2,800. So $70,000, $22,000 to $2,800. So let's say 2,500. Is that in the middle? You're gonna continue investing 10% of your income. Let's calculate this. So you have 2.24 million. But this is the interesting thing that, like, this is where money doesn't make sense to me. Because if we do, so let's just say 30,000 monthly contributions, $500, which I'm assuming is, how do we get that $500? Is that 70? What's 70,000 times 10%? That would be 7,000. Why is it 500 times? That's only 6. Either way, so let's say 7,025. So you're investing you're in saving $7,000 every year. You're putting it away for 401k. Oh gosh, I don't need this calculator, just a regular calculator. So 7,000 a year, and you're 25, you want to retire at 67, so you have 42 years. So let's just say 42. So that's 294,000 that you're putting in. This is where compound interest, like, I don't think this is where people get lost, and this is where I don't even understand it necessarily. How can I invest $294,000 in over the course of 42 years? I did the math right. 42 years, and somehow it's saying, hey, you'll have $2 million, $2.24 million at the age of 67. Because compound interest, man. Like, look at this jump from 64 to 65, I believe. How much money is that? 194. So 194.7 to 208. So is that like 80 grand? And then 208 or yeah, sorry, 2,087. So 2,235,000. So that's like in 1 year, that's like 50 grand. So basically, in 1 year's time, because of compound interest, what is that? Divided by 294,000. In 1 year's time, due to compound interest, you'll you'll accumulate 17% of what you totally invested throughout that time. Like that doesn't make sense. You'll take what? That doesn't make sense to me. And the reason that it doesn't make sense is like let's think about. So this is another thing. Let's talk about go here. So what we did here is we said an average inflation rate is 3% per year, which I think what is the U.S. average inflation rate over the past 30 years? Let's see what this was. AI, you gonna help me? This means that CPI. Well, let's Investopedia. So 1929. So this is 100 years. The U.S. inflation rate shows to change prices. The 12. Okay. So current is 2.9 right now. Is there an average? Historical. So inflation rate year to year. I wonder if there's an average on here. The year-over-year inflation was 7 at the end of 2021, 6.5, 3.4. The table shows the year-over-year federal funds, gross GDP. So inflation from previous, so positive. We have some negatives in here in the 1930s. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Man, I wonder, is there, if I go all the way down the bottom, is there going to like be an average? There's no average. Let's see. I wonder if GPT can tell me this average really quickly. I'm going to copy and paste all this. I'm going to go into GPT. Can you tell me the average percentage year-over-year inflation increase with the table data? Let's present that. Let's see if ChatGPT knows it. So it's approximately 3.16%. So that's taking everything, it's adding it up, it's averaging it over the course of that's 96 years, and we're at a 3.16%. So if I go back to this retirement calculator, let's do 3.16 now. Let's calculate what that's going to look like. So now it's actually saying I won't have enough. And this is the thing that's really interesting. And this is why compound interest doesn't, compound interest makes sense if you think about it, right? Because you're basically taking this thing that you can invest in, and over time, you're taking all the money that it earns and you're reinvesting in it, and then it continues to grow, and then you get more and more of those investments. Like, that's awesome. That's why compound interest is awesome. The thing I don't understand as a 25-year-old right now is how does because let's see, actual amount. So after retirement, if saved, I'll basically have an income of $15,694 per month, which, by the way, guys, that sounds incredible right now. I wish that was awesome. I wish that, I wish I could have that. But from savings, from, other income. So this is essentially the $2,500 that I might have from Social Security. Who knows? Maybe Social Security increases, but more than likely, we're continuing to see that decrease. So the point is, in today's money, if we take that average 3.16%, $13,000 and $194 a month is going to be equivalent to $3,572 a month. Let's do the math on that. 3,572 times 12. 42,864. So let's do the math on this. Let's do 13,000 times 12. So the average income in America is like 48,000. And we definitely know the average income hasn't followed with average inflation. Let's say you make $70,000 a year, you get those returns, you already have 30,000 invested. All these things to end up having that 2.21 million. But that value of money is only going to be worth like $13,000. Like that doesn't. How can this continue? I just don't know how it can continue because like no way McDonald's is going to start paying their employees like, like McDonald's probably what's I don't know what's whatever the average wage of a McDonald's. What is the average wage of a McDonald's player? Average wage of McDonald's employee. Let's see. The average wage. So minimum wage 24. I don't care about. I want to know the average McDonald's hourly pay range. $13 an hour. So 13. Let's say 13 times. I think 2020 is a full-time schedule, 26,000. So they're paying basically half what the average income is in America, and so $152,000, half of that, what is it, like 76 something thousand, maybe close to $80,000. No way like McDonald's is going to start paying their part-time workers, or sorry, this is full-time, their full-time workers like over $80,000 a year, right? But then if this is actually the amount of money that you need to survive, that's comparable to $3,698 a month, like there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And I just don't know what that solution would be. So anyways, I bring that up because this whole like investing in my 401k and then rolling over turned me into this like compound interest is incredible. It doesn't make sense at all. The fact that you can only invest like $250,000 and then it grows to 2 point something. But it also just doesn't seem like, how is this? Can someone please explain what is the principle? How are we relying on this to continue to work? Because it feels like it's not. Feels like it's not eventually. So yeah. Anyways, that's my spiel, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe and like. I guess it gets my channel out there. I'm going to try to put more content out there that's just like very, very cut dry. I want to explore these things that like spark my interest, and then I think bringing it to you would be interesting, because one thing I'm passionate about is finances, being aware of your finances, being aware of how money can work for you. But then also like I'm super interested in the world economy right now and capitalism, and we heard this state like saying about late stage capitalism. Where are we? How are we going to get out of this, and what does that look like? So thank you guys for watching. Looking forward to your comments down below. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.